Welcome to the training on weighing study food refusals. I'm Beth McIntosh, presenting on behalf of the Diet Implementation Working Group. Any uneaten food will be weighed and documented during Module 3 and for the diet-specific meal test, referred to as the DSMT in these slides. The DSMT is administered in both Modules 2 and Modules 3. This training focuses on the specifics of weighing the food refusals that you may see in the DSMT meals. Details for weighing food refusals from each menu can be found in the Diet Production Adherence Manual of Procedures. It's important to encourage participants to consume all their foods. If the participant is unwilling to do so, then the amount of remaining food should be weighed back and documented. How a food is weighed back may depend on how the recipe was prepared and entered into the ProNutra software. The first step of weighing back any food refusals is to place a clean plate or parchment paper on the food scale. Tear the scale and place the food refused on the scale. Weigh the food to 1/10 of a gram and document. Food refusals for Module 3 should be documented on the ProNutra production sheet and entered back into ProNutra. Food refusals for the DSMT will be entered into REDCap. How the remaining food is weighed may depend on how the food was prepared. We'll go through how to weigh the foods that make up the DSMT meals. Purple DSMT includes cereal and milk. Remove any flakes of cereal from the milk and press out as much milk as possible by pressing against the flakes with the back of a spoon. Pour that milk into the milk container. Weigh the cereal flakes separately from the milk, as shown in the images. Both the purple and the orange DSMT include a baked egg dish. These are mixed with a number of ingredients. These have been entered into the ProNutra software as recipes and therefore are weighed back as a whole. The software will calculate the amounts of each individual ingredient remaining. The ingredients in these foods should not be separated, but rather scrape as much of any of the remaining food onto the clean plate on the tiered scale and record the weight. The blue DSMT meal includes oatmeal that has a few ingredients mixed in, like milk, olive oil, maple syrup, and cinnamon. The blueberries and walnuts are weighed separately and added to the dish. When possible, separate out the blueberries and walnuts from the oatmeal and weigh the oatmeal, blueberries, and walnuts separately. It's fairly likely that the walnuts and the blueberries will be mixed into the oatmeal dish and you will not be able to separate out the ingredients. If this is the case, weigh all the foods together and use the calculation on the following slide to determine the amount of oatmeal, recipe, walnuts, and blueberries that remain. This is an example of how to calculate foods that are mixed together. In this example, we have beans and butter. These are each weighed separately, as is shown on this example production sheet. But they are combined in the meal, just as the oatmeal is combined with the walnuts. We know the amount of ingredients that we served, 120 grams of green beans and 7 grams of butter. Add those numbers together for the total amount of food in the dish, that being 127 grams. In this example, 30 grams of green beans and butter were refused and weighed back. To calculate how much butter and green beans remained, divide the gram amount of the food served by the total weight of the dish served times the amount of the food returned. Do this for each food in the dish to calculate amounts for each food item. In this example, from the 30 grams of food returned, we had 28.3 grams of green beans and 1.7 grams of butter. Please see the Diet Production Adherence MOP for detailed guidance on weighing back all the foods from each diet menu day. Thanks for listening. This training is complete.